that well-known actor playing that role. It's a it's a roundabout way to get in there and do that, but it's the difference in millions of people seeing it or maybe 250,000 people seeing it if we had just taken somebody out of the community to do that. I feel like we need to get to a level
Mm. Uh, uh,
that I
mm.
think we need to get to a level where we can do that. It's not gonna
Hmm.
I'm being honest. Okay, so then BB, if that's the case, then you couldn't play the majority of the roles in Hollywood then. You would only be able to play gay roles.
Out of respect for. Okay, baby babes. Hello, my dear ones. Listen, we've come a very long way from the days when the only queer character on TV was a tragic sidekick, a punchline, or let's be honest, a corpse. Today we've got rainbow storylines, queer leads, even superheroes that slay. But let's not get too comfortable because visibility doesn't always mean victory, right? Today we are talking about LGBTQ visibility in media. How far we've come and how far we still have to go because yes, the cameras are rolling, but so are the double standards. From gay for pay actors crashing in on queer roles to trans and non-binary stories being sidelined to communities within our own community, still erased or stereotyped. Representation matters, darling, but so does who's telling the story and who's cashing the check. So I want us to shine a spotlight on the progress, the pitfalls, and the politics of being seen out of respect, of course. Hello, Miami. That's how we doing, people. How's everybody doing? You all look stunning. Well, some of us. What's going on, people?
Who are
Well,
you
that
talking
was
about?
shady, wasn't it?
Yeah, Imma let
You
her
don't like
finish.
that intro? You got that.
Imma let her
Who was
finish.
it?
That was
Who that was
very
like stunning?
shady,
That was my.
BB.
What did you?
Who was the scum of us? Let's talk about that first.
Out of
What?
respect.
Who
Out of.
are the some who are not?
Right. Why you trying to be cute?
Wow.
How
Your
you guys?
your visibility about to be erased.
Well,
Be
speaking of
seen.
visibility, the question I wanted to ask that comes in mind is that what was the first form of LGBTQ representation you saw in media, and who were the individuals who made you feel seen?
Mm. The first time I remember seeing gay people on TV was in Living Color, Men on
Mm.
Film. And I was like, this is crazy. That was the first time I saw like gay people on TV. And of course, those are like caricatures, even though they were funny.
Mhm.
And then this movie came out when I was like in third or fourth grade called A Low Down Dirty Shame. Um,
Oh, Peaches.
Wayman was on there.
Wayman.
Wayman, who was a drag queen in real life, Amazing Grace. Um, but again, he was like the funny sidekick, but he did great in the movie. When it comes to characters that really made me feel seen, even though I was closeted at the time, it was Queer as Folk, and then this show came out when I was in college called Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark was the
Mm.
one.
Mhm.
I didn't
Mhm.
really see it. I didn't really see it during Queer as Folk because I didn't see none of us. But
Yeah.
when Noah's Ark
Well, it
came
was just
out,
the
it was
fact
kinda
that
like,
they were gay. It
just the
was
fact that they were gay, yeah.
yeah, I was like, and they were men having sex with each other and in relationships, and I thought, being gay used to be fun back in the day because you had to sneak and do it.
Mhm. There was something about that
So that was
adrenaline
fun.
rush.
You like had
Yeah.
to sneak and meet somebody at the mall, and then go to their house.
Yeah.
It was like a mission,
Or
Mission
go.
Impossible.
Then there were some people who went in the bathrooms, but that's another conversation.
At the
Oof.
mall?
Well, at the Greyhound bus station.
Oh.
Oh, not the
I
great.
remember when I was in college, it was this dude,
Oh my
because
god.
nobody teaches gay men about love. So I thought that we were in a relationship because we was hooking up in the bathroom every week. But that was
Oh, so you
crazy.
thought that was a
Wow.
relationship.
Yeah. At least
Wow.
that's what I learned on Queer as Folk. No, I'm just playing.
Well, no, that is how it was depicted.
We're all sitting here. We're like, yeah.
Well, that is how it was. That's how it was depicted on there. So
Okay, the experiences, Diego. What was yours?
I'm trying to think about, like, I don't know when the first time I saw a I think the first like openly gay person I saw on TV was RuPaul. It was like on a news channel, and I was like, "Who is like what is that? Like, who is that?" But the first time I really saw myself was also Noah's Ark. I was in college in Atlanta, and Logo, like the great Patrick and Polk, Rodney Chester, Daryl Stevens, Christian Vincent, Doug Spearman. I'd never seen, like, to your point, Sampson, I had never seen a show that had people that look like me and my friends that talk like we talk, that like they dealt with friendships, relationships, love, and it wasn't just kind of one-sided things. I feel like for a long period of time before that show, I had seen characters on TV that were always like the ones getting beat up, or they were the main girl sidekick. They're like the funny gay friend, especially characters of color. But Noah's Ark completely changed the game. And I feel like it's still like one of the only shows like that to exist. I don't know what came after that was similar, but that changed the game for me. Yeah.
Is that whole idea of being seen. I think for me, it was really, it was RuPaul. Because first of all, I was not. When I came to this country, that was that was who I discovered first. Just via media, and I was like, I think to me, it was really a big aha moment because of like just when it comes to my artistry, and it just of course, when I came to Minnesota and I went to I was taken to go see the drag show. That was a really, really big aha moment. But for me, when it comes to media, RuPaul was the one that I saw, and she was just so very fascinating to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. Like, I was like, oh, that is me, and I wasn't even sure, I wasn't even sure how to get around it or how to be it or whatever, but I just knew that was me. Like, and growing up as a child and knowing the things that I was interested in, and I see someone there just representing all of it. I was like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. So, and that was very fulfilling to me, because then I knew I was not crazy.
Well, but did you see her back on TV at home, or did you see her?
No,
Okay, so did you
no,
see any like queer representation back at home in
no,
Cameroon?
not
Okay,
at
I was
all.
like, what they
But
playing on TV?
no,
Yeah.
right? No, it's not until I came to this country, and then I was just
Wow.
watching, of course, television and just whatever. That's how I even discovered, different things, kind of thing.
that had to be weird for you, right?
What?
Not having any in your country, like no kind of representation in your country, but you know who you are, and it's like hard to kind of like maneuver that around all of these people, and none of them are either like you or
Yeah.
out.
Well, there were characters back at home that would play the cross dressing role. The word cross dressing always gets me. It just cross dressing just sounds so wrong, but I know it's the thing that it really is the cross dressing, whatever. But there were people that would play like the Medea role, right? And you're going to be laughing at them and not with them, kind of thing. And it was just like such a correct, that's what we saw, right? And so we would look at them and be like, funny. They're clowns and making us laugh, kind of thing. So I never necessarily saw that. You know what I mean? The whole idea of a RuPaul, the glamazon, the way the brand was presented. It was here in America when I came here that I didn't discover that. So yeah, it was wow. I was like, oh, I was just really, really just very curious and excited. CoCo, what was yours? Was it queer?
Probably like he said, it probably was Queer as Folk, but I kind of watched that in and out because I didn't feel like it didn't really like register with me.
Yeah.
It was more of, for me it was more of when Noah's Ark came out, it was more of the okay, now they're not laughing at us, they're laughing with us type thing.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
that show overall, that show showed so much of queer life.
Yep.
Not just the club scene or not just the sleeping around thing. There were so many different elements and stories in that show that actually painted gay, especially gay people of color, in a full realm of we're actually
Mm.
people too. Like we're not just gay doesn't just define us. You know, we're fathers, we're lawyers, we're doctors, we're firefighters, we're all those things. You didn't really get that with the other shows, but you got that with Noah's Ark. And I felt like the stories were really able to hit home for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's why I believe that show to me should never end. And I know they
I
did some
agree.
movies and stuff like that, but I feel like as a series, that show should have gone all the way till 20, 30 seasons. Because
Mm.
it was really a phenomenon. Everybody watched it.
Do you think it was ahead of its
that.
time, Coco?
well, so,
Like, I
but
feel
do
like
you
it was
feel like
almost. I feel like it was almost ahead of its time. Sorry, B.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
no,
think
It's still ahead of its time.
it is still ahead of its time. But I think even with the casting of the show, it was cast so strategic that every
Mhm.
role in that show was highlighted so well, and you fell in love with every single character in that way, and nobody
Yeah.
was stepping on anybody's toes. Nobody was trying to be this person trying to be that person. Everybody stuck to their roles, and they were amazing actors to bring that to life, because that's a very touchy thing when you're like a pioneer show like that.
Mhm.
It's gotta hit the first time. Because if it doesn't, and you gotta replace actors and stuff like that, it kinda gets like,
Yeah.
kinda crazy now. But I commend him. That casting was incredible. I couldn't take my eyes off that show. It was great. I
well,
loved
but
it.
there have been other shows that have had GLBTQI characters, right? Like, and the other shows that have that representation, maybe not as like queer as folk
This
or
right here is one of my favorites too. This is a movie that everybody should
Yes.
see.
which one is it? What's it called?
Dirty Laundry.
Dirty Laundry.
Oh,
One of my
oh,
I've seen
absolute
that.
favorites. This is a really good black gay movie. It came out in 2006. I remember I was living in DC at the time, and they showed it at Union Station, which was ironically where all the gay people went to cruise on Friday nights. But to go see a movie like this in a big movie theater with 40 or 50 other people sitting in the theater laughing at it,
Mhm.
it was great. That was a very affirming experience.
Mhm.
MC, is that a DVD?
Yep.
Why you say it like that?
No, I was because I feel like it's a collector's item now, isn't it?
I still watch my DVDs.
Oh, I like
That's
that. A old
protected
school
media,
man.
Samson. That's
Yes.
protected media.
I
Some
still
Yes.
stuff
got
you can't
cassette
find.
tapes.
Honey, that's DVD and chill, not Netflix and chill.
That's right.
Pull out the DVD. I'm gonna pull out the DVD. Blow it off. Blow off.
Everybody should have media, important media like this on CD or DVD.
Yeah, because
Physical
Yeah.
they'll try to
media.
erase it.
Yeah.
If it's on Netflix, they'll try to erase it and stuff.
And that has special features. Like, I
Yeah.
agree.
I was just curious, but speaking of, do we think that, like, when you think of visibility today, do you feel like the visibility today actually reflects the full spectrum of our community, or just the parts that, are easiest to market?
Hands down, the parts that are easiest to market. The thing about visibility 10, 20 years ago when it was really important was we knew that those stories had to be impactful, whereas a lot of the stories that are out now are about checking off boxes. Oh, we
Yep.
put two transgender people in there. We put two gay people in there. And they're gay people that don't make no sense. They're not connecting with people on that human level. And so because they're not even connecting with people on that human level, that's even worse than a caricature. At least the
Mhm.
caricature, you're still engaging emotions, but like the representation that we have now is pissing people off. Like when people say, "Oh, it's an agenda," it's hard to argue with that because it's like when you clearly can look at a story and be like, "Okay, why is this transgender person in here with these other people?" And you know that scenario would never happen in real life. You know it's a checkbox.
I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about,
Mhm.
and I am so there with you on that. That is the truth.
Mhm.
That is the truth. Because
Mhm.
they are just throwing them in there, and it's like they're meeting a quota. Okay, we need to have that. We need to have this. We need to have that. Who cares which one it is or how it is? Just get one in there that's scheduled.
Yeah, and no heart and soul at all. And
None.
that's what makes things impactful. Like that's why we still talk about Noah's Ark. That's why we still talk about
Yep.
Queer as Folk, even though Queer as Folk was, a little bland sometimes, it
Unseasoned. Yeah.
still connected with us because I mean, we all understood what they were dealing with, and then also I think when you have to sneak and watch something, at 10 o'clock at night when everybody in the house is asleep, I mean, that's special right there.
Hmm.
But I mean, is it okay? So let me ask a question. So the stereotypes when it comes to, let's just say, when it comes to, you know, uh, gay, I would just say gay people or gay men on television, there's a certain stereotype that is put on gay men that is being portrayed through media. Do you really feel like and I'll talk about like the queens or the femboys or whatever that is, and they say, do you
Over
really
the
feel like,
top.
what do you right, or the flamboyant ones? Do you feel like, well, of course we know it's a stereotype because not everybody is like that, but do you feel like that's easier to market?
Yeah, because they're not
Yeah,
threatening.
because you
Do you
marking
feel
them
like they
down.
are laughing at them or laughing with them?
Depends on the circumstance. I mean, depends on what part you're looking at. For the most part, I feel they're always laughing at you. They're
That
not,
part.
because I think the issue with that is if you put someone like Samson in a role and say, "Oh, this is a gay man, such and such and such," two things happen. It's not believable enough for the people who are not in that community because they're looking like, what the hell? No, that's not. That doesn't that he doesn't fit the role. He couldn't be. That's the whole thing. So it becomes a conversation about that, and then we don't even get to see his acting. We don't care about his acting. We don't see anything because they want to focus on he's supposed to be playing a gay role, but he's clearly representing as a straight man to them because they need the extreme to understand something that's not like them. They need you to be the extreme
Mhm.
to
Now, on the flip, though, if it is done correctly, there's an opportunity for crossing the cultural barrier where you can reach a larger Black American audience and
mhm,
even a mainstream audience. Because two things can happen. I think if women can look at in this case a Black gay man on television and see somebody who's sexy, and then men can look at this character who's in scenarios, or maybe they're funny, or maybe they represent masculinity in a certain type of way and want to go have beer with that character or relate to that character in some kind of way, there's opportunity there. But
mhm.
the studios are too clueless to
So,
take a risk on that.
yeah. I mean, and then I mean, to be devil's advocate with that too, you'll probably run into a lot of straight men who get extremely uncomfortable when they see someone like Samson as a gay man on TV because now, wait a minute, now he's starting to look like us. Now we all look and now it creates an issue because
Hmm.
now the women are questioning them because you could actually look like this. So it becomes a thing where a lot of men kind of probably resent that. They would rather it look like a flamboyant queen so they can say that's the difference between me and the gay boy.
But
Is
but that's what makes it effective though, is because now you can have a conversation, especially if this character is genuinely likable. Like people look at it and
yes.
be like, I wouldn't mind that being if the character's funny. If the
Hmm.
character genuinely makes people laugh, they sitting around smoking a joint and they can laugh at how the character talks trash or the scenarios. Laughter, and I'm not just saying it because I'm a comedian, but laughter is one of the biggest connectors. And I think if that
Yeah.
character is genuinely funny or genuinely has style and swag, those are the two ways. And it would be very important to create conversations through those avenues because all of us are not flamboyant. Some of us can whoop you in a street fight. Some of us can beat you in basketball, and it just would be very important for the conversation about human sexuality overall.
I want to tilt the conversation just a little bit because we're talking a lot about like acting and TV and stuff like that. And of course, media, like, that's politicians. I was thinking about music specifically. And I was thinking kind of like where we are now, where you have kind of people like Little Nas X or these kind of he's like such an interesting dichotomy. He could present very like flamboyantly and also just be like a kid from Atlanta in a t-shirt and, be himself like that. But he kind of gets also a lot of criticism from not only like the straight side, but also the gay side for either being too flamboyant or not enough, or he's pretending kind of almost like people are pigeonholing him into these kind of digestible or marketable kind of spaces to get pushed into. My specific question was for you, Samson. as a creator, as a comedian, as an actor, have you felt the pressure to be kind of pushed into any of those stereotypic roles, in the work you do?
No. And I think that that's a part of being a pioneer and a visionary, even though that's not the intent. But I think for those of us who are in the community, especially if you are black and you're gay and you from the hood,
Mhm.
that is you right in there. You grew up in church. Those are all the intersections in the black community, showing that we're just like everybody else.
Mhm.
And then also challenging not just the fact that we're a part of the community, but the impact that we've had. So, a lot of black people will try to discount our contributions. And I remind black people all the time, you can point to any major black civil rights movement that there has
Yep.
been, and the leaders have always been black gay men and women.
Hmm.
Bayard Rustin, James Baldwin. In the church there was Alex Williams. I
Mhm.
mean, so many. It's just so many. Harlem Renaissance. Those were political leaders through culture and literature.
Yep.
So I think it's just important to remind people, and this is another thing too that creates an interesting conversation with the black community is when you remind us that we are black first, because a lot of them they equate gay with white. And so if you say no, if we're sitting in the car and all of us are quiet, we get pulled over by the police, we still have that same fear of what may happen. And that is because we are black first. There are certain things that we deal with, and we deal with those things because we are black first. But when we go home, we may do stuff a little bit different, but our commonality is that we are black first. And black people are surprised because I think they think our lives are easier because we're gay. And it's like, no, we're black and gay. Who chooses that?
Yeah, it's definitely not
Mhm.
easier.
And by the way, I just like to, just as a side note, I just always say that I feel like flamboyance is just an expression of your sense of style. I just have to throw that out there because every time when it's always the whole idea of being flamboyant almost always has that, not to any of
Negative.
the, yeah, not
Mhm.
to any of us here, but it just has that negative, oh, you're being flamboyant. It's like, no,
Mhm.
it's your sense of style and how you're expressing yourself, and which it's, I think, just needs to be celebrated even more,
Mhm.
and if someone wants to be in a t-shirt and a jean, okay, be in your t-shirt and a jean, that's still your own expression.
Hmm.
And if I want to wear yellow, like Coco is wearing that yellow headband, well, baby, flaunt it, kind of thing. you know because I feel like even when they put it on media, and even in media, like, that's just like how you see it, and people are dressed over the top or whatever, then it feels like, oh, that's a stereotype, oh, that's the gay person over there.
But
No,
you
it's different. Go ahead, D.
But what's interesting, and this ties back to like LGBTQ visibility. When you see like people that get a lot of rah-rah and praise, like Harry Styles, and these people who are kind of
Right.
wearing skirts and like all these kind of things that a lot of people deem flamboyant or tied to the queer community. Is that frustrating to see that? Like, how do you feel when you see them get praised for something that has been happening in our community for so
Of
long?
course it's frustrating because it's like then to like everybody else. Oh my gosh, they're so fashion forward. Like they're so
Mhm.
that's their style. Oh my gosh, they're so hot. You think of the Lenny Kravitz. You think of everybody else that is not put in that form of
Prince.
everybody, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're hot. I want to do. And then when you think of someone being gay or being from the community or whatever, then now the opposite of that is, oh no, we don't do that.
Well, that's because people, when they know a person is gay, they stop thinking about the expression and they automatically go to what they're doing in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so because there's such a big emphasis on sex, what you
Sex.
do sexually discounts any other expression that you have
Hmm.
because you're not having sex the right way.
Right. Not their traditional way. You're not doing it that way. So that's the focus. It's
Well,
a. Mhm.
speaking of that, how do you guys really feel when straight or cis actors are taking on queer roles? Um, do you feel like it's representation or do you feel like it's exploitation?
I have a probably an unpopular opinion on this.
Oh, I'm curious.
Okay, here's the deal. Especially now that we're fighting, we are still fighting for equality. We're still fighting for visibility. We're still fighting in these spaces for that. Um, for us to say, okay, this is a queer role and it has to only be played by a queer person. I think we create a kind of like a issue for ourselves because
Mm.
as an actor, I want to be seen as an actor who can play many different roles. And if I'm begging for them to say, well, okay, well, you can't, he's straight, he can't play the gay role over here, then they can look at me and say, well, then you're gay, so you can only play the gay roles. You can't play the straight roles. If the straight people can't come over and play, I mean, they did a movie where I forgot the actor's name. He was great. He's a really well-known actor. He was great. He played a trans person, and the community was up in arms. And I said to them, I said, y'all, I just want y'all to understand, they could have came and got somebody out of our community to play this role. But what this story was about, this story would not have gone to the masses and been seen by the masses to get the story out about who you are if they hadn't put that well-known actor playing that role. It's a it's a roundabout way to get in there and do that, but it's the difference in millions of people seeing it or maybe 250,000 people seeing it if we had just taken somebody out of the community to do that. I feel like we need to get to a level
Mm.
I think we need to get to a level where we can do that. It's not gonna, I'm being honest. Okay, so then BeBe, if that's the case, then you couldn't play the majority of the roles in Hollywood then. You would only be able to play gay roles.
Expand.
If that's not if that's how we're gonna if that's the
No,
stipulation we're
no,
gonna
but
play.
I think that what the thing is that I do understand what you're saying about like having it reach the masses, but like when you think of opportunity that is always given, it's never always given completely to the community. You
Yeah.
know, like the community is not always the first pick. It's never like when you think about we always speak when like even like when Sampson was talking about even politics and talking about even like media or whatever about all of these people that have been leading all of these different activations that are from the community, which means that there's so much power coming from the community. But for some reason, when it comes to all of this representation, the community is not always put first for the opportunities that are presenting themselves. So I think when people complain and say, "Oh, it's exploitation," it's not saying that hey, the straight person should not play the gay role or vice versa. It's just that all the time you don't even give that queer person even the opportunity to. You don't even give them that, or you don't even present them with a challenge in the first place.
You go to the straight person
You
first.
just go to the straight person first.
Okay, I see what
You just go there.
Okay, well, I mean, back to what Sampson was saying earlier
Let's just talk about music. I
about
mean, CoCo,
gay
we're all
people.
we're all artists, right? How many times? Let's just even talk about like what we do. How many times, like what we do, are we given opportunity to even go to the masses and to be able to represent and activate the way we're supposed to? Like we're not even, a lot of times those opportunities are not even presented to us in the first place. We have to fight for those opportunities. Let's talk about even music that I do. When you think about
I
like,
don't fight. I just sleep with the right people. No, I'm just
well,
playing.
bitch, yourself. And
I feel like
fighting.
It's still physical,
I
Sampson.
feel
It's
like
still
That's another
physical.
form of,
It's very physical.
listen, that's another form of fighting. You know,
queer community, okay, as far as music goes, as far as the music
you
business
know what I'm
goes,
saying? Because it's like we're going to like, even when it comes to that, like think about all of our divas, and again, I just get a little bit passionate about it because if you think about it, even the community, we're even almost like programmed. Even the community itself is
Yeah.
programmed in a way that over here is what's gonna sell. Over here is what's
That's the
gonna
value.
do. Has value.
honestly, when it comes to I think, well, in the music industry, first of all, in the music industry wouldn't be anything without queer people, period. Queer people have been in the background of the music industry making it making the wheels turn for centuries. Let's not even
It's forever.
try to act like that's not. So
Yeah.
we have that space. Back to what Sampson was saying about the advocacy when everybody was doing the civil rights movement. Most of those people he talked about, their queerness was not something that was publicized. That was in the background. Nobody, a lot of people didn't even know a lot of those people were queer. That didn't come out until after the fact.
Well, they
Because
knew, but they
because
relegated them to the back. So, like Bayard Rustin, because Bayard Rustin was wild. He used to be down at the bathroom too at the Greyhound station, the
Ah,
bus stations, and the parking lots.
not the
And
bus
he would
stations.
get arrested for doing lewd acts in public.
Yeah, yeah,
But his mind was just so good at strategizing and things. But
yep.
they went to Martin Luther King and they told Martin Luther King, "You have to get this homosexual out of the front lines." And so that's why we did not hear about Bayard Rustin until after he died in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like, I mean, I don't know. If in the acting world, I don't want to. I don't want to only be considered for queer roles. I want my acting to be good enough that they say, "Hey, we thought the role was good for you. It's not a
But
gay."
Coco, that's the point that we're making is that you use Samson as an example or Diego as an example, like however we are all presenting ourselves, is that those opportunities are not even given or presented to the community. That like the only
For
person now
openly
that I
gay
even think
actors.
is it Coleman? Is it Coleman
Coleman
now?
Domingo?
Coleman
Right.
Domingo.
That I see
But
him now.
nobody knew he was gay until recently.
Right.
He
And then
played it
now
smart.
exactly. But it's like you have to go through this different whatever that is to be able to even be given that role to play the straight role per se. Because as soon as they just, even if you're qualified to do it, it doesn't even matter if you're masculine presenter. There are a lot of guys or actors and actresses or whatever that are presenting the way they present and not even fitting the stereotypes. But as soon as you're known that this is who you are, it's almost like that mark. Okay, pop, now
So you
you
feel
know.
like, Brokeback Mountain should have been played by two gay men, not
Maybe one, at least one.
okay. I just don't know if it would get. I don't know if um I don't know if the queer story would, especially in Hollywood, get out as much as it has with those type movies. Brokeback Mountain was the talk for a very long time.
Well, that's because Hollywood is not as progressive as they like to act. Number one, if Hollywood was as progressive as we like to act like it is, it wouldn't be black people just getting awards for the first time in 2025. That's number one.
That
Number two,
part.
I think one of something that would be very effective would be to have a couple of gay actors in these movies, and then have a major celebrity put their stamp of approval on it, put their name on it is one thing that could work. But I think a great strategy for a gay actor would be to play a really great gay role and play it so well that they get opportunities in other genres and other you know other opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I've the reason, I guess, I have a kind of a different view on it because, like, even there have been some actors, which contractually I can't really say much, but there have been actors that have played gay roles, and they were coached by gay people, like some of the gay people that could actually give them the real, so they could be authentic and look authentic in those roles. I've done a lot of that. I've done a lot
Mhm.
of coaching for people who played this role, played that role, played this role.
For who?
I cannot say contractually, but I've done that, and it's um
And that's my point. It's because there's something about called lived experience. And no matter how you teach someone that, yes, they can go on screen and portray it however they do it to the best of their
You can't live
ability.
it, yeah.
But there's just something about a lived experience. So, whether you're a fashion person or makeup artist or you're a dancer, a musician or an actor, a comedian, whatever, there's just something
but
about
not
through the lens of how you have lived is what is being, and for people to relate. And if you're not given the opportunity to even share that lived experience in whatever platform or whatever activation you're doing, then we'll still be having this conversation many years later about representation.
but every gay person cannot can are not does not automatically be able to deliver a gay role. I mean,
That's true.
if
I
you're
would I
not
would
that
argue that some gay people might be better at playing a straight role because some of us have had
1,000%.
to hide that well.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
So
true.
right. So I feel like I just feel like a, a lot of times we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think a lot of times we don't realize that there could be repercussions to the things that we are fighting for. No, when that movie came out, the one I was talking about, the entire trans community was up in arms and they were fighting and this and other, and a lot of them were actresses. And I get it, the ego comes in and says, well, I could have played that role, or I could have played that role, or I could have played that role. Yeah, and then that movie would not have reached all these people about your life because clearly you're not on the level to play that role.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
sometimes
don't know. I think I
no,
disagree with
yeah,
that. I think there are some serious powerhouses in our community who have the ability to break through. They just need the opportunity.
that part.
Mhm. I mean, that could be true. That could be true too, but you do. I mean, you do have to realize, like, Hollywood is Hollywood, and the fan bases of movies and TV and film. A lot of times they could care less to see an unknown.
See that, but as somebody who is, I am in Hollywood, and I have had the blessing of having a very hard journey, because it has allowed me to gain insight. The issue is not so much Hollywood as it is the fact that whenever we create outstanding work, and a lot of us do create outstanding work, that we aren't even supported by the gay community. Pride
Yeah,
doesn't book gay artists.
That's true.
Pride will go
Let's
book
talk about it.
Now
some,
that's true.
R&B diva from the '70s who can't sing no more and shows up coked out with a bad wig on before they will, somebody in our community who has the outfits and who can put on a great show. And Hollywood runs on numbers and they run on money. And one thing that the gay community does not do is put numbers and money behind its own artists. And so when you go to a Hollywood table and you're trying to bargain for opportunity, they might go, "Oh, okay, that's cute, but where's the money? Where are the numbers?" And so we
That's the
have to
point.
work
That's
on
the
that,
point I
the
was making.
community first.
That's a lot of the point I was making. I mean, if they don't make numbers aren't there, it's not going to make sense. You know.
And
Um.
that's part of
And
our
at that
fault
point,
because in the gay community,
it's part of
we
our
just
fault.
I think
It's
it's
We got to
majority our
support.
fault. I think
because
it's
Yeah.
it's like
majority
if
our
you think
fault.
about it, how do you say that in Hollywood you have all these powerhouses and these powerhouses are from the community that make some of these decisions, or they make all these major decisions, but still those opportunities are not even presented from to tap into the resources that are in the community or the artists that are in the community. You're not even doing that. And then then the community is already conditioned that this is what success looks like. You have to go all over here and then do this, and then that's what success looks like. So all of you need to put all your efforts to make, and nothing wrong with other people coming from different communities, but you're
Yeah.
not even giving those opportunities. Like, don't get me started. It's just a whole thing.
It could drag out, but I
we
want to
so
say,
big on straight
yeah,
validation, just like black people wait
that's
for
true.
white people to start liking you before they put the stamp of approval
This
on
is
you.
true. This
Yeah.
is
But I
true.
think both of these things could be true at the same time because I do agree with some of Coco saying from like the studio side of things. Like, if you don't have the people who can sell it, a lot of those movies wouldn't even be made, right? But that still doesn't mean that there shouldn't be some kind of balance where you could bring the star power in and break new talent. Like people like, MJ Robert, there's so many amazing artists of trans experience or queer artists. But I want to get back to the point about people not supporting queer art. And I thought immediately of Bros. I think that came out last year, like the whole Billy Eichner movie that had the first time ever, the all queer cast, and it completely bombed at the box office for a lot of reasons. But it made me think of kind of, they had leads, it was a queer story, all these different elements. It was a diverse-ish cast. They had people like T.S. Madison, Miss Lawrence. It was a mix of different people, but people didn't show up and support it in theaters.
The funny thing about that though is if that
Yeah.
movie come out in 2003, the numbers would
Hmm.
have been better at the theaters. And it seems
That's
like as we
interesting.
have gotten more public acceptance, we as a community have stopped understanding the importance of still going out and supporting representation. Back when we needed that, it seems like we showed up for it. But like the more social acceptance that we've gotten, we've cared less and less about the representation because we kind of don't need it anymore.
That's interesting because you think also like shows like Drag Race, which is still very popular. Like there's certain people like TV shows and things like that that really work well, like Drag Race. And then there's shows like what is it, Mid Century Modern, which is a Matt Muchnick Hulu show. He did Will and Grace and it had Nathan Lane and Matt Bomer on it, and that completely like flopped. A lot of people haven't even heard of that kind of show. So it also feels like we're kind of picking and choosing which we can do as consumers.
Well,
You know?
that's because when you look at, okay, so you know how you go out to the gay club and all these white women and wedding parties show up and it's
The
more
bridal
than in the
parties.
club than
Yeah.
gays. That's because white women are supporting RuPaul's Drag Race and stuff like that. Gay people, we might watch it, but white women are supporting that. And white
Yep.
people, white women in particular, again, they will watch religiously. They hold watch parties, they buy merchandise, they go out to the shows. So again,
And-
that's a different audience.
Yeah, but see, that's to Coco's point. That's why that part of the argument makes sense to me in terms of studios. These women who are consuming and buying tickets, they'll see Heath Ledger and they'll see Jake Gyllenhaal, and they'll go out and support it along with the gays. They'll go and see these two hot white actors, and that's why they put them in these roles versus two, even if they're superstar gay, Jonathan Bailey or Matt Bomer or whatever, they'll put those straights in there because they'll get more money on the studio side.
Because white women will go out and watch them.
Bingo. That's the market, right? They're not making that for the gay community. But I think it also increases the importance in media in general of having people in the community that are directors, that are not just talent, but like directors, writers, producers who are funding these projects, right? Bringing to the table, challenging them from all sides,
Okay, well now when you're talking about producer, now you're talking about financial literacy and all that type of stuff.
Yep.
And the thing that a lot of people don't understand is Hollywood is not funded by Hollywood. Hollywood is funded by politicians, it's funded by corporations and big business. And on some levels by drug dealers and things like that. And so it's about getting access to those streams of financial resources in order to create, because that's what you need. Or if you come from a wealthy family, and many of us, especially if you come from where we come from, you don't have that. So you got to figure out a
That's
way
fair.
to get it.
You got to hustle to get it. Yeah.
Well, let me give y'all an example, and I want an honest opinion. I want y'all to be honest. Each of us are producers. We are the finance behind this movie we're about to do. The movie is about the life of Lady Chablis.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect example. I think in the community, I would say, okay, well, as a producer, I would be like, well, I would love for Jada Essence Hall to play Lady Chablis. I think she'd be a great Lady Chablis. And they go, that would be great. Financially, this movie's going to cost us probably about $50 to $60 million.
Absolutely not.
But just an example. But Kerry Washington is looking to do something different and play a different role or something like that. Should we let Kerry Washington do this role? Now, we know if Kerry Washington do this role, this movie is going to be, people are going to see this
Nobody will watch Kerry Washington play Lady Chablis.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
I think you would be better off creating a documentary for Netflix or Hulu for Lady Chablis before doing a biopic on her. And again, it's about smart decision making. Or you could do a mini series on Lady Chablis and put somebody in there who is lesser known. And the writing has to be so good, and the social media strategy has to be so epic.
That is true.
That's the only way that will work. It would have to be produced on a really small budget, the way Tangerine got made. And then you could put it on Amazon Prime, or maybe get some sort of umbrella deal on Hulu or something and do it like that. But that's the only way that's gonna work.
But in a fictitious world, as a producer, when your money's on the line, what are you gonna do?
You're not gonna put Kerry Washington, and you're not
pass on the
gonna tell a
project.
story about Lady Chablis.
Yeah, they would probably pass the project. Yeah,
Dang.
they would. They would pass on it. Like if Kerry was
The
the only
way
option.
that would get made is if you had
Shonda Rhimes, right?
Meryl Streep
Oh,
go, I'm not gonna do this movie package unless you
Bingo.
get this producer that I know. you get him a deal and get his show put on such and such. Then it'll get done. It'll get done like that.
But we had to incorporate someone like Meryl Streep.
Yeah, you need somebody with some leverage.
Some power.
Again, putting a name on something that can and use that name as leverage. You would need something like that.
And most of the people in Hollywood that they consider with leverage like that would be Caucasian.
But my question, I just want to ask, I know that this is like maybe just going a little bit off script. I just want to ask real quick before we continue, is that what is it about the community not supporting? I can just speak for the arts. Let me just speak for the art because, you know, we're artists. What is it about the community not always putting their full power and support to create the superstars that do exist in the community?
Well, okay, so we know we can
I'm
do
just
it
curious.
because we've kept the careers of Beyonce alive. Diana, all them divas from the 60s and 70s, Patty and them, they still singing because gays go see them. Even if it gets down to you having casino gigs, it's gonna be old drunk people and gays showing up to see you. Okay, so if we could do it for them, we could definitely do it for people in our community. The two things at play in our community are, number one, the organizers of pride events and LGBTQ events, they don't see it for us. So that's number one. And then secondly, I think there's a psychology with a lot of gay people where if they see another gay person who's going out on stage getting love and attention and that type of thing, it's like, oh, what's so special about you? I'm a star too. Like a lot of gay men have celebrity and God complex. And so a lot of them have too much pride to look at another gay person that is doing something and support them. Because it's like, you're not better than me, rather than what you're doing is really good, let's support it. So those are two things in play. Unless you're taking your clothes off, then support that.
Diego, do you agree?
Well, depending on what your body looks like, right? Because there's still a lot of stigma about people's shapes and things like that. But I think of people, I'm thinking about music, right? I'm thinking about people who I really like Destin Conrad, Coney Gray, like these kind of openly queer artists, Kehlani. And they get a lot of support from the gays, right? But they get a ton of support from the straight community too, and everybody in between. And like Sampson said, I feel like a lot of people have this kind of, it's not even like they're haters. They have this like visceral reaction against supporting other queer artists or elevating
They
other
haters.
queer artists. I mean, I feel like it's deeper than that too. Like, you know, they don't want to see everybody. That's not everybody's case. But also I think there's this kind of thought of authenticity with a lot of these kind of artists. Like, case in point, I remember when Jussie Smollett was on Empire, his like first or whatever season, there were a lot of like gay people in the gay community mad that he was kind of straight passing. You know, they were like saying, well, why is he playing this character like this? Like, what? And it was like, why is that even a commentary? He's playing him, like he's playing in his range and he's being this role, but why does he have to be kind of this flamboyant stereotype? Because then you'd have a problem with that too. It's almost like there's no leeway, there's no room for people to kind of create. One of the things that's also interesting to me, even in the comedy field, I feel like people, for some reason, they don't always even want to go out and support queer comedians, which I think is so odd. Like, I'll have my friends and we'll be like, oh, let's like go out and find, and it's like, oh, I don't want to go, like, I don't want to hear gay jokes. And I'm like, you want to hear straight jokes? I don't know what that means, you know?
Well,
It's
that's
like
why I
always a
talk about
wall.
pussy at my shows. No, I'm just playing.
But Diego, look at you, but even look at with CoCo. Like, when my shows are always sold out, but they are all my shows are always sold out, but 90% of the people that are in my shows
They're
are
women.
not from the community.
That's true. That is true.
90%. 90% are all people other than the community.
Yeah.
And it's dead true. It's so true because I've been to all your show, well, all the big shows you've done, and that's exactly the truth. There's probably, I would even say, if you get even close, probably 2% gay, 98% heterosexual people.
Yeah.
I have to change a lot of people say, well, you don't like to perform in clubs anymore at night, and that's not really the case. But my tickets sell to the straight community. So I have to do venues that are either brunch in the daytime or something else, because that's where my money comes in.
Yeah.
The gay clubs, the gay kids, they're not checking for me like that. And
Mm.
it doesn't make sense for me to be
Interesting.
marketed towards those clubs. I don't work in the clubs in Las Vegas.
But
I-
yet at the same time, you're asking for representation.
Oh,
You're asking, oh, we don't see ourselves. We don't see
right.
ourselves.
You don't support yourselves when you see
You're
yourself.
not, we don't see ourselves.
That's the paradox, B.
I can't.
We don't see
mean, and if
ourselves,
you
but we're
really-
not going to support.
If you really want to break it down, it even goes. We could go to the black community with that too. Being black and gay, I can walk in. I can go back to Miami and walk into the black club, and I will be received just like this.
Mm. Wow.
Yes.
Or even be told that I'm not black enough
Wow.
in the gay community. So to me, it's like, okay, at what point? Maybe that has a lot to do with why I feel the way I feel as well. I want to be seen as, if I'm going to be seen as an actor, then let me play roles. Let me really get into the role and be something that you guys are not seeing every day. Because to me, that's more of a representation then, because when I get on the red carpet, all they're going to talk about is, because I'm going to be totally different than I am in the movie. So I think that's another way to have representation too. But it goes back to what you said. Our communities, if you break it down from the gay community to the black gay community, you do not get the support, period. My entire fan base is middle-aged women. And I'm going to be honest, middle-aged Caucasian women. There are some black women that support me, but you got to remember, I come from a church background. So they're supporting me, but they're supporting me in silence. They're supporting me in my inbox. They're not supporting me publicly because they can't.
Well, they can support Medea publicly. They can support you publicly,
But
but
they
that's a different
won't.
story.
Oh, don't, because there's a difference. There's a difference laughing at somebody and laughing with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why for a long time, even before I got on Drag Race, and even when it comes to my culture, not that I was hiding who I was as an artist, but I almost felt like I needed to have reached a certain level of success for the world to know who I am before I would even feel comfortable sharing my artistry with the world. Because I never, and even that's why, even when Drag Race was presented to me 3 times. It was the third time that I decided that, okay, I'm going to do it after RuPaul talked to me. But the second time I was like, I don't want to go in a situation where you guys are going to laugh at me, because everything I saw was people laughing at the art and not laughing with the art. You can be a comedian and people will laugh with you, but not laugh at you, because laughing at you means that you're making a mockery. That means I'm not even of value. So yeah, there they go. And so it was just one of those things where I will not put myself in a situation with how much I'm dedicated to my craft for you to laugh at me.
Right.
And that's what I was always hesitant of being out there like that. Now I don't give an F, because again, I've done what I've done. But that was really what the mentality is. And it all comes down to, if there was just not even that many representation, apart from RuPaul, where I could be like, okay, now this person is really taking their craft seriously. I want it like that. And I just feel like it is just really, I just feel like the journey, I mean, we've made some strides, but there's just so much work.
A lot to
I
do.
think there is a lot of work to do, but I think that, like you said, the work starts in our own community. Our community we have to be like, the white community supports their artists no matter what. Let's
Yep.
be honest. If y'all want to talk about music,
They
they
sure
could be the
do.
most mediocre. They could be the most mediocre artist with the most mediocre music and the most mediocre voice, and they will have 100 million followers, because
They sure do.
their people, they're not looking for perfection. They're like, what's her name sit on the red carpet? They said, who you want to win tonight? She said, anybody black. Everybody was taken back by that, but they've been doing that on the other side for centuries. It didn't matter if you were qualified. Just we look alike, we're good. You're in. That's the way it works. Our gay community does not do that. And that's why we're not as far as we could be. If we did that, it would be totally different.
Well, but that is why our platforms are still very important, right? CoCo, Sampson, Diego. That's why we still have to use our platforms, and still we have to still create work, and still still do what we do for that representation to still matter. Because when you're still when people keep seeing you, they're forced. They have no choice but to say, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
this matters, right? We still have to
Yeah.
be here, and we still have to accept this, and we have to still present this because even the smallest of opportunity is still an opportunity where someone is seeing themselves, and seeing like, oh, I can be that. So I feel like the work needs to still continue. But speaking of all of that, do we still feel like when we think of just media, maybe we can just be more specific with media. Do you feel like there are parts of the community that are still left behind when you think of mainstream representation?
Yeah,
Or do you
old gay people, but there's a show out right now on BBC something, and they had these two, it's like Mr. Magic or something, these two old gay men. But it's definitely our gay elders. And I think it would also help to see more gay youth presented in ways that I think Moonlight, the beginning of Moonlight did a great job. People need to see that.
Yeah, Moonlight was good.
Yeah, I know a lot of the actors in that, and a lot of that comes from down in Miami. My that's my home, so I knew a lot of the people who worked on that, and I thought that was incredible. The way they told the story,
And it only won the Oscar because they did not have sex in that movie.
Ooh.
I think that we need to do stories and not put sex in them. People need to see us and connect to us because they're already too busy thinking about how we have sex. They
right?
need to connect with us emotionally and on a human level. Maybe we can kiss or hold hands or something like that, but we don't need to be having sex on camera either.
Well, because it's MC is because of the stereotypes that come with it, and it feels like every time when you think of the community, all you think about is the sex, right?
Well,
So
we do
then
have a lot of sex.
no, but what I'm saying that when you think about, I'm not saying that we do. The other
Not as
communities
much as
also.
Shout
not
out
as
to
much
the
as the
Greyhound bus.
heterosexual
No, but
community.
we put it
Greyhound bus
Don't be
stations.
fooled.
online.
The Greyhound bus stations are rocking.
Don't be fooled. That's just I think the straight community is having just as much
Yeah,
sex, if not more.
it's because of
But
what is
Ours is
being shown.
ours is because it has to be in secret in the bathrooms
it's
in places.
stigmatized.
Right.
Facts.
So we have to
Correct.
take the attention off the stigma and put the attention on the human. And then once we humanize ourselves, because we haven't been sufficiently humanized, then we can talk about sex. We can have a more realistic conversation about sex because now you see us as people. And not
But
And to what
just,
Sampson,
people, because I think a lot of people assume we just some deviants. It's you choose to be gay, so that means you could be straight, but you're acting out of deviancy. So they're not understanding you grow up like this. This is who you are. You have to recognize, that you're gay, you're bisexual, you're non-binary, or whatever you are, and see what those experiences are like. How do you connect to society? How do you live in the margins? What are those stories like? And then you can get to the sex after we become humanized. But um, yeah, I think that's a huge issue. I think it's too much emphasis on sex and not enough on, who are you?
Yeah, and that's why I don't even want to open Pandora's box about the letters of the of the community, because that's a whole different story. Because I'm not gonna, I'm not even gonna, I'm
Just
not
like
even.
you said that
That's a whole different conversation that we need to have, because that's why when I present myself and they say, "Who are you?" I say, "I am BeBe Zahara Benet. I'm Marsha Kudina.
Mhm.
That's me.
Me too.
Period.
Me too.
Period.
And it's no offense to everybody else. They
No,
ask me what my pronouns are. I'm like, I'm just me. Just say whatever.
I'm BeBe Zahara
Not
Benet.
offense to them. It's just I, I want to be able to know people to know me for myself.
Yeah, next question. And that's not again, we can this is another conversation we can have in terms of like just how you identify and all that stuff. I think that's another conversation, but I feel like even when we talk about media, even when we talk about representation, when you go to people and they're wanting to offer opportunities, the whole idea of where you identify now matters to them, and then that's deciding, no, you can either take what I do in terms of my artistry or you don't. It either works or it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
However, the bedroom is none of your business. It really is not.
Mm-hmm. I mean, back to what Simon said. Samson said about Simon. Samson said about humanizing. I, I felt like kind of like that's one of the easy ways to get us to be seen as humans. sneak us in that way. You know, let somebody else.
Diego, do you agree? Diego's there like Diego.
Girl, we're so far off the question, girl. I'm like,
we went.
we took a roundabout. We are down. Okay. We were going to Miami.
You so far
We
down the
ended up-
rabbit hole, a rope won't even
CoCo,
get us.
we were going to
Listen.
Miami. We ended up in Fort Lauderdale. Okay. We're off track.
No, we're
We're
in
in the
Palm
wrong
Beach.
part of the state. We're
We're
in the wrong
Palm
part of the
Beach.
state. Let's
Zay,
get back to the
Zay,
road.
there were a lot of buttons that were being. There were a lot of.
It got hot.
We
See,
started in
that's
Key
how you know it's
West.
a good topic. You know it's a good topic because things got things got
There were a
spicy.
lot of buttons being pushed. I was like, wait a minute.
Well, that's good though because we were going down different tracks. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's so many different.
I don't know how we ended up on pronouns. That's a whole different Pandora's box. And the acronym, that's a whole. We're not
Well,
opening
no,
that
but-
box in this.
We were talking. I forgot he's from New York. I forgot he's in New York. Yeah, the New Yorkers. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
We a little derailed, but
What's really going on?
Zay, there were a lot of emotions. Okay. I think, but I want to ask.
It's real, yeah.
But I want to ask. Okay, who's one queer character that you think deserves a spin-off or a bigger spotlight? So we've been talking about all these, characters and da-da-da. We saw this, we saw that. But what character do you think deserves like a spin-off or like a bigger spotlight? Or maybe a show. Maybe it's a show, and not just a character. Who would you want to see more like, feels like it needs to be catapulted up there?
I don't want to see Noah's Ark come back as just a one-off show. I think it needs to be a series. It always should be a series, and it should always be developing. There's so many stories that can come out of that, and I could watch that for the rest of my gay life. I could watch that to the
Well,
end.
CoCo, do you feel like because that was the few shows that showed representation, do you feel like if there were other shows
There were
that
other shows that came
existed,
after it, but they weren't done as well as that.
like what? Like which one?
I
I
mean,
think
Dante's
Dio
Cove.
Chronicles was very well done.
Dio Chronicles.
it was
yeah.
good. Yeah, I like that. It was good.
There's a lot of web series though. Also,
A
But see,
lot
that's
of
the
great
thing.
web series.
I mean, it was good. I felt like it should have been on the same level. I don't want to watch web series and stuff.
but those are really good though, CoCo. They don't have the same budget, but some of the
Okay,
writing
you
and
very
acting is
signal- you
fantastic.
very-
But
signal-
again, there we go again.
Yeah.
Even I don't want to watch a web series, but if a web series with gay characters is consistently getting 1 million views a week, that's leverage. But
Right.
we will look down on it because it's a gay web series. It need to be on HBO. It's not gonna get on
Exactly.
HBO unless people who are creating are getting the leverage because numbers and money matters. And I think one of the smartest things anybody in the industry can do is go become successful in other industries to fund your work.
So you want me to go do my show on Zeus Network?
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, like if you are in particular an entrepreneur and also in the entertainment industry, because a lot of us are entrepreneurs, go get licensed in real estate. And then, because you need wealth, you need money behind you in order to make moves.
Yes.
You, like it or not, you can be as charismatic as you
1,000%.
want. You can
If
be
you
a
ain't got no money,
visionary.
you ain't got no time.
You need money because money is power.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. You need the money because people listen to money, and then you can use that money to create the numbers. But money talks. People respect you when you have money, and I think it's really challenging for a gay artist. Unless you maybe do pornography or something like that. But it's really hard for a gay performing artist to make the type of living that we want to make unless we make the money some other type of way. Become smart in investments or something like that, but you have to become business savvy.
Sampson, do you feel like that's the reason why maybe some actors and actresses do not necessarily come out because they feel like it's almost that stamp behind them that allows them, like if they know X, Y, and Z, then they're not gonna get the opportunity, but they want to make the money, so they just stay now behind closed doors. And
Of
not really
course.
be-
It's a lot of them, they're gay, they be at upscale gay bars and stuff, but they know the challenges that come with the career, particularly in media. If you are out, it does make your journey a bit more challenging. And not only
Especially
just
for the
because
men.
people can stigmatize you because a lot of money is made in middle America. And I'm very blessed that I'm not just an actor. Like I'm blessed that I can go on the road and I can make money because I would really be a mess, but I can go on the road and I go to Kentucky, I go to Texas, I go to Florida, I go to Iowa. I was in Montana at a casino and people come out because I'm funny.
Mhm.
Thank God I can make a living doing that.
Mhm.
But for actors and stuff, it's like they don't get opportunities. So it's like they actors without opportunities or they get here and there. And so again, you need other methods of income in order to be able to make moves in this business.
Yeah, that's true.
Diego, is there any character that you think needs a bigger spotlight?
Yeah, there's two that immediately came to mind for me. So I don't know if you all have seen Insecure. I'm sure you have. BeBe, you watched
Yes.
Insecure, right?
No, it's so funny. That's one of the. I
That's
know
crazy.
you've
We
always.
always
Here you're always watching it. I need to
I
get.
I rewatch it over. So Issa's brother Amal, to me, he has a
Okay,
whole
CoCo, you
world.
can not so much, CoCo.
BeBe, you never saw Insecure?
No, I know of Insecure. I've just like every time I've not been able to sit down and watch it. But Diego is here.
I'm
He's
always watching
always
it.
watching
I
it.
always
Oh,
watch when I'm there. I always
but what were
rewatch
you
it.
gonna say, D?
But yeah, Issa's character has a brother named Amal on the show who the actor is straight, but his character is gay. He loosely talked in episodes about his friends and dating and stuff like that. I think having a whole show that he's very funny, that explores his life, his friends, his love life in LA could be really funny and interesting from that perspective, from his vantage point. Also thought of he's passed. Nelson Ellis's character from True Blood, Lafayette. I would have loved to see
Yeah.
a Lafayette story, even if it's an origin story or like life, like that would be so fascinating. Him set in that kind of vampire world in New Orleans would be fascinating to me to see.
Wow. CoCo, anyone that comes on? No.
As a
I mean, you.
Not Uncle Clifford, like not
No,
nobody.
just Daryl Stevens. That's it for me. I could watch him.
Okay, Noah.
I could watch him by himself all day long. I like
Yeah.
I like the cross between his. If you have met him and you know him on that level, I like the cross between his masculine and feminine side.
Yeah.
'Cause
I
it's
think for me, I think
I like.
Uncle Clifford from
P Valley.
yeah, I just feel like his character is very complex and it's just so layered.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you really dig into that character and not just it being what it's being portrayed, I feel like I'm intrigued about what that story could be,
Because
because
there
it
are a
just
lot.
feels there's so many layers there and he just touches so many different things,
Yeah,
like
that's a great character.
it's all there and it's just like it could just be like
We all know one. We all know an Uncle Clifford, so it would be relatable to everybody because we all know one. In every every community across the country, somebody has an Uncle Clifford.
Mm.
So I want to come to my point where then our Not This Darling segment. I know everybody knows my, our Not This Darling segment. So I don't want to explain it too much, but I'm just going to go right into the question because if you could cancel one tired LGBTQ stereotype in media forever, who's getting the chop and what would he be? Like, what are you canceling?
Oh, easy. That the only gay relationships are interracial. I get tired of saying
Oh,
love is love, but enough with the interracial. And I'm all for love is love, but I just think that there's a narrative push that you got to be chocolate and vanilla. And I have
Oh,
a problem with that because in some gay white spaces, black men become fetishized.
in many of them, yeah.
And so, we're not little animals. We're not little sex slaves. It's a lot of that, and I have an issue with that. And this is not a knock on love because I think, if you can get love in strawberry or vanilla, whatever color you get, sherbet, whatever color you get it in, fine. But there
Sherbet.
is a thing in media. It's like it'd be white gays, and then they had like a little trophy black trophy boyfriend.
Mm.
This is true because in social media when you talk to some of those companies in social media who want to basically take over your social media and help it grow and all that kind of stuff, There was one that reached out to me, and the conversation ended when they said to me, basically, they said to me in so many words that if your partner would have been of Caucasian, we would have been able to really, really boost your numbers.
Yeah.
But you're with a black guy, so yeah.
Because I thought about that too. Just hire one of my white friends that like my boyfriend and start making moves. Because look, I like the black shit, but we gotta keep on eating over here.
We know about that all too well in our field.
I mean, I think for me, it's all the people that use all the slangs and do not pay homage to the girls.
Oh.
Oh yes, honey.
So
Word.
like all the housewives, everybody.
That chaps all. You don't pay homage to the girls, but you're using all the diction. I can't.
When the girls become the props.
Right.
They become the tutors, CoCo. They like the tutors, right? Like a lot of girls on the housewives sets, they have their gay friends literally coaching them on reads. They write their reads, all these things.
Everybody got their Don Juan and
Yeah, because when the girls use it, it's a stereotype, but when other people use it, it's the thing.
Yeah.
It's diction. Oh wow, that's hot. Now you want to use it on your TikToks because
And then
now
the
you get
straight men start using it. How does that happen? It boomerangs to straight men.
Dear, what's that for? What's yours? Do you have any?
I honestly would love to see. It's not necessarily what I would like to stop seeing. I would want to see more. I want to see more openly queer villains, like in Marvel movies, like or DC. So I'm a comic book nerd, but in the DC universe, there's like this flamboyant villain named Pink Flamingo. And I've always wanted to see him come to life on a big screen movie, but I want to see more like superheroes and villains that are openly queer, but that's not their story. Like they just happen to be queer, but it's not a big deal. It's like, okay, this is my life, but I'm going to save the day or I'm going to, kill the superhero. I'd like to see more of that.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. More villains. D.
More villains.
Yes, LGBTQ villains will be sickening.
I'm like, who was going to, they would never serve like our community.
That play that.
We would let them have it.
A lot of people in our community that can play that.
I mean,
really well.
Yeah, we got a lot of them in real life.
Yeah.
That's it. It's too close to home. Is that what it is? It's too close to home.
It'll be too traumatizing to go to a theater and watch that.
Okay, we don't need you to be that real in the role. We're gonna shoot this one more time. I need you to
right, CoCo. Like, let's bring it down. Let's just bring it down a couple notches for this next take.
It's too real for everybody.
Well, see, if Batman goes to Atlanta, he's definitely getting scammed.
Oh yeah,
Atlanta.
Yeah, have him go back in time and go to Freaknik. Oh yes.
Well, I mean, it's time for us to wrap it up, and and there you have it. Visibility has brought us a long way, but the journey is far from over because being seen is not the same as being respected. Representation, as we know, is powerful, but it has to be layered, lived, and led by us. So not just sold about us. So to my co-hosts, my fabulous listeners, keep demanding stories that reflect the full spectrum of our community, not just the parts that fit the mainstream comfort zone. And remember, darlings, we are not a trend. We're not a quota. We're the culture. And we're here to stay. So until next time, stay bold, stay visible, and as always, do it out of respect, of course. Bye, my loves. Out of respect for...